Merz is facing huge problems within the coalition. Now the small and medium-sized businesses are stepping forward and bringing him down. The European Union has come up with an absolutely absurd energy idea that could destroy this country even further. And Ukraine is currently reporting that it has driven Russian occupiers into retreat. And now they say they will finally win the war against Russia. It's only a matter of days. Sudan conference, we will first spend 2 billion euros to help Sudan, but for us there's only a 17 cents of fuel price relief. You already saw it in the video this morning. If you'd like to support this channel, I'd really appreciate a like and a subscription. So let's move on to the next story. The protests are now spreading to Ireland. Scotland, England, France, and now Italy is also involved, where they are simply burning boats in broad daylight, but there will be a bit more about that tomorrow in the midday news program. The price for those 17 cents is minus 2%, which means the union is now dropping further in the polls. I don't know, what's your opinion on this? Feel free to write it in the comments below. And now comes the real bombshell, the actual bombshell. What happened today? Listen to it, I'll leave the subtitles on.
And the third element is how we handle the bee, because of course it's the least expensive. That's not used.
I don't find that funny at all. Energy that isn't used hurts the economy. And if you can stand there laughing, she also said something else today. And if you can stand there laughing and say, yeah, then we'll just cut back on energy use. We are at the maximum limit. Even the business owners are already taking to the streets here because of this 1,000 euro relief, and they are clearly saying, where are we supposed to get the money to pay it out to people? Then just give it to us and don't say it has to be tax-free. And at the same time, the disaster happened. Now they've come up with the idea in the EU, hold on tight, to decide on more majority voting, especially in foreign affairs. While the individual vote no longer really counts, I have to say it's the majority that matters. That means if a single member state says, no, I don't want that, it can now be overruled by all the others or sent to the bathroom like Orban. Oh yes, in Hungary, they also have a huge problem. Not the Hungarians, but the EU with the Hungarians. They probably won't approve the aid for Ukraine. And on top of that, they want to get their money first. So yeah, probably just like Orban maybe. With less corruption, if Orban even had any corruption at all, which will definitely become clear in the next few weeks. I already mentioned it in the headline. Yeah, Russians are surrendering to the Ukrainians, and well, I still can't really believe it, but I'll show you now that I didn't just make this up.
Brings together the Russian side, and besides all that, we also share the goal of Ukraine joining the EU. Germany supports this goal, even though we both know that we can't fully implement it in the short term.
Yes, here too, there's plenty of money for Ukraine, even though now they're suddenly driving the Russians into retreat. When I read that today, I thought I couldn't be hearing right. The Russians are surrendering to the most powerful war machine in I was about to say in Hungary, no, in Ukraine. Take a look at it yourselves and tell me if you really believe it.
In this war, the enemy position was taken exclusively by NRC unmanned platforms and drones. The occupiers surrendered. And this operation was carried out without infantry involvement and without any losses on our side.
Оратель, термит, ардал, рысис.
Well, then the war will be won in no time. So just go ahead and quickly wipe out the Russians, yeah, and then we can all get back to our lives next week. You don't need to let our tax money be funneled into corrupt channels anymore. So disheartening. Oh man, it's easy to mix up Hungary and Ukraine sometimes. Only, oh right, oh no, wait a minute, with Ukraine it was confirmed, yeah, and with Hungary they just believe it. That's a clarification I absolutely had to make here again, because of course perpetrators are only caught when they're eventually brought to court for exactly what they've done, but you can't actually prove that against them yet. So things definitely remain interesting in that regard. But one thing as an aside, if anyone had wanted Europe to completely tear itself apart, they probably couldn't have done it better than with the attack on Iran. And with that, I would say to cut off the oil supply for Europe. I don't really think that was intentional. Only the CDU, of course, is coming out of the starting blocks again. They've noticed something really important, and let's take a look at that now. That worries me a lot. Kretschmer criticizes the behavior of the federal government, saying that they're giving so little and that they just don't really want to relieve the citizens. Now that some associations have really gone up in arms over this 1,000 euro sum, only a few companies can afford to pay that right now, and for them it feels like a slap in the face. They've really noticed now that other relief measures are needed. That's probably not really possible with the CDU. It's not like all the right-wing YouTubers didn't say that right away, that the way it is now is nice, but we would have needed completely different mechanisms. Nothing will get more expensive for now, at least not more than it already is. The coalition is bringing new burdens. Now again, with the 1,000 euros, you could have guessed that this might also be a bureaucratic monster, and that it might have bureaucratic reasons why it wasn't so clever to do the whole thing. And there's one thing I just have to read to you. I've marked it. This is a bomb that will fuel completely unrealistic expectations in companies, create disappointment, and disrupt the peace in many businesses. Because they are simply not able to pay for all of this. A baker has already responded and said, yeah, that's cool. Then I'll just work for my employees for free for 4 months. Is that what you had in mind? So this reform package here in Germany, it simply doesn't achieve anything at all because it's not thought through at all, and they're just spreading things around indiscriminately again. The relief on fuel prices was cleverly implemented, but 17 cents is simply far too little. And of course the SPD has now come along again and said, well, we urgently need to turn to the competition authority. Oh yes, and also investigate themselves. There was someone who took 1.2 million euros of taxpayers' money for themselves and their family. No, wrong slip of the tongue, sorry. She took that in through an association and no one knows where the money went. Apparently it was spent here on some strange things. However, the association mainly consists of her children and her husband at the top, and no one knows where this money went. And now when you realize, oh, corruption is really starting to take effect and it's really starting to kick in. Here in Europe, because so many countries are now rebelling against it, people want to take a closer look, but only a fool would think anything bad. And of course, oh, how did that get in there? Now everyone should think about what they believe, but it was kind of funny. First he was with Trump and now he's going to some secret meeting. I don't want to comment further on that yet, but I really have to say, yes, it's endless speculation. Write down below what you think this secret meeting is really about.
You have to become strong, economically strong. What do you have to do to become economically strong? Taxes, energy prices, deregulation, then you have an opportunity. With that, we can stabilize the social security systems.
Oh, wait. Health insurance contributions may not go up, but medications are definitely getting more expensive now. And the whole other range of things you've already received, of course, like suspending salaries or something like that, absolutely not. Just imagine if those in the Bundestag got less money, then they'd work even less. And by the way, those bonuses, those 1,000 euro bonuses, they don't exist either. For those in Saxony-Anhalt, well, not for civil servants, because the state simply can't afford it. They're still in a state of emergency and they don't have enough money to pay their civil servants that 1,000 euro payment. And in North Rhine-Westphalia, they're already at the point where starting next month, if you call an ambulance, you'll probably have to pay for it yourself. No. Not from what you pay monthly to your health insurance, but with what you swipe with your debit card in the afternoon. If they suddenly have to come to you and make sure you absolutely don't have a heart attack or anything like that, just imagine a helicopter flight like that gets really expensive. And exactly for this reason, so that people don't just lose it, the German Civil Servants Association has now come up with the idea of a ban on contact with the AfD. This has to be really, really important now because we've already seen the new numbers, right? So here, strongest party, by far the strongest party. Now you have to distance yourself from them, even in private. Yes, that definitely has to happen now. You are not allowed, or if you are a civil servant, then you are not allowed to be photographed with AfD members, AfD representatives, or anything like that. Yes, and at school my daughter told me today we watched Logo. Yes, Logo, the show on public broadcasting. And then she told me again that the new guy in Hungary is definitely better than Viktor Orban, and then I played her the video showing that he's continuing the same course. And she just said, "Are you kidding me?" And then I showed her the video from Ireland, how people are being dealt with using pepper spray, what's happening in England, what's happening in Scotland. Tomorrow, a very sensitive topic, yeah? And why people make videos and then provide them to me for free. Then my daughter actually said, wait a minute, could it be that the bad guys might also be here in Germany? Well, the problem is that you don't necessarily get that on the propaganda channels of public broadcasting. And after she saw both images of happy Hungarians and pretty depressed Irish people, yes, they're called Irish, not Irelanders. That was a slip of the tongue, and they're also demonstrators, not demonstrants. That was a slip of the tongue. In the other video, she said, okay, the perspective between good and evil is actually a bit different. And in the future, at the end of my videos, whenever they're not already as long as this one, I'll occasionally add a song at the end, specifically songs about freedom. And that's actually the point that we all really need to make right now. Because I really hope that soon there will be general strikes here in Germany as well. Because the thing is, when other people who come here get everything and we get tax increases and bankrupt companies, then something is wrong with this system. And if we're told there's no money for our own population, then there isn't 2 billion euros for Sudan or 20 billion or 10 billion for Ukraine either, who are simply dealing with the Russian powers right now. Zur Aufgabe